want to thank everybody here. I was not expecting at this time of such really cruel weather on a Saturday evening for so many people to turn up, and I'm really overwhelmed that so many of you are here from diverse orbits of occupation, from diplomacy to academics and military people and a few journalists. I think there are more journalists outside than inside this room, and I sooner or later have to face the heat for this. So I'll take it in my stride, I guess. And above all, I want to thank General Naravane for having so readily accepted the invitation to release my book. And I'm particularly grateful because China being what it is, an elephant we all know is always in the room, but about which we don't want to talk about. And he has spoken candidly, I would say, very thought-provokingly, and it will take me a while, maybe more than a day, to decode the things that they said and process it. But there are superior minds here, which I'm sure might attempt a first attempt this evening during the discussion, experts on China, who know far more than me, who are immersed in the subject and follow every move. And while I thank General Naravane, I also want to thank General Aditya Singh, who made it possible by reaching out to him and arranging for him and giving him the confidence that I will not get him into trouble. So if he gets thank you, General Naravane, for being here. And I think he has spoken. There are a lot of things extraordinarily profound in what he has said, which goes beyond the templates of discussion that we are accustomed to. And of course, there are many military minds that have spoken on China, and they are also involved in negotiations with the Chinese, both track 1, track 2, and at other levels. But if my recall serves right, outside of what we have read on Galwan in his book, which is yet to be released for public appreciation, this is the first time that he has spoken at such length on the issue of China and shared his thoughts in public to an audience where there are many evolved minds that can grasp the implications of it. And I'm very happy, very thankful as much that the people who can register these things for what they are here, as much as the fact that he spoke these things. And it is not for me to comment on what he says today. And I also want to thank Professor Zedem Khan for the extremely penetrating insight with which he has been able to pinpoint certain facets of the book. Thank you, Professor Zedem Khan, for taking the time to go through the parts of the book and this thing. I have a few things to say because he also spoke about journalism. And for me, this book has been a kind of journalism or extension of journalism at a time when journalism is fast disappearing, is being subsumed under the hydra-headed monster called media. And I don't know how long journalism may survive, but some of us journalists are still surviving through a practice that is almost antediluvian today. So I would like to reflect on this journey because it is journalism which made this thing possible for me. And I think it is a lot of areas of work, spheres of work and intellectual activity that will be affected if the principles and practices of journalism are endangered. So my foray into journalism, for example, and definitely my foray into China and the many countries which I have traveled, both closed and open societies, to use a binary term to which I am opposed, it has been ignited by a singular urge or ambition to redefine how stories are told in our time and how stories, particularly from China, are told, or from Vietnam, or from Russia. It's very important because we see lesser stories, and if you look at the information and communication imbalance in the world, it is more important to tell stories from this. My stories might be flawed, they might have deficiencies, but they are still stories which I feel have not been told in the way I would like to define these stories and how they should be told. So, It is journalism which gave me the gift to write, to help me find my expression. And this is a gift, you know, that has helped me journey far, wide, and into issues. And when I say far and wide, I don't mean just geographically. You know, every article or paper or report that I have published from many parts of the world, therefore, are a testament to a journey in journalism, where life appears as a canvas of endless possibilities. And I'm really surprised. I did not think I would be working for so many decades as a journalist, and I still feel there is more to be done. An important aspect of people I met in China, experts, economists, and those who are passionate, you know, about reform, was their fervor for the transformation underway in China, you know, among middle-class professionals. I do not find that kind of fervor in India or many other developing countries. This is something I was really astonished by. The second thing is, so what these things tell me, and the transformation in China, perhaps in human history, there has been no other transformation on the scale of, say, whatever the figure, whether it is 600 million or 750 million people being lifted out of extreme poverty in such a short span of time. It is unheard of in human history, as we have read it. And so I can understand why people are so kind of excited about it in China, and I've tried to capture some facets of it that are visible to me. So what they are telling me is, or so I considered, is, and what this taught me, is that life is about breaking away from the familiar. I am very familiar and comfortable reporting the MEA here or meeting the people whom I know and talking to them, and they all have insights. And one of the things I noticed talking to people in China and the people here who are working on China is that we are not anywhere in step with them. We are miles behind the perceptions, the ideas and the thoughts that the China experts in India have about China and the people in China have about India. This is the first thing. So, you can tell stories in a different way only if you venture to areas that are unexplored. That was the first lesson. And especially with my hearing disability, therefore the inability to learn Mandarin and still kind of find my way around China, meet people who would converse in English, meet people who would help translate and so on. Many of them did it voluntarily for me, helped me gain access to the English-speaking experts and scholars. So it was a kind of, it only made my spirit more insatiable, and I sought to imbue my work with the spirit of insatiability, you know. It became an important phase in my journey in journalism. I have not spent so much time in many other countries. I may have traveled more times to, say, 20 times, 25 times to Europe and to Germany. But I did not immerse myself in those countries, nor was I kind of stirred by this kind of curiosity and the kind of hunger and thirst to kind of really explore so many of this. In the last 15, 16 years, I have met some of the best minds in both India and China who are dealing with both China, India, and their world as it is constituted by the many multilateral forums in which they are. And these include people from all spheres. It's not just academics or journalists or diplomats. There are very kind of, what shall I say, military minds and analysts and security people and intelligence people who are all available for conversations if you know what to ask them, when to ask them, and where to ask them these things. They share with you a lot more than what they would share publicly with the journalists. And I also want to take this occasion to express my profound thanks to all these people who have contributed to the publications where I have worked. Some of them are there in this place. And I really feel I have learned from reading everything they have written. Also, every time they wrote, I began to discover that when they write, there is a message for a particular audience. Otherwise, when I see some of them writing, I used to initially wonder, why are these bureaucrats, this guy in cabinet secretariat, this guy why is he writing about China? But it took me many years to learn that there is a message in this, there is a definite audience in this. And these are things I would like others here who are still at an age of learning to understand. So, this has gifted me with very profound perspectives for my journalism. And I have brought this, I think so, I can't be sure, to my writing. Because when you finish a book, actually, you're finally defeated. There is nothing you can do about the fact that it is in the public realm, and it will have to face the music. You can't say, oh, I meant this, I didn't mean that. No, you can't. And then you go back to it, like looking at one of your old articles, you say, could I have really written that? Why didn't I phrase that better? No, I could have put this differently. No. But one has to be very ruthless when you're writing. You like a particular turn of phrase, you like a sentence, you've crafted a very good paragraph, you feel, oh, this is like how Milan Kundera or Philip Roth would write. But then you have to be very ruthless and tell yourself, no, if this doesn't make sense, this doesn't add to the force of the narrative, I have to kill it. I have to kill my own baby. You cannot love your words, you know. So this was a very cruel lesson that I am reminded of every time I sit down to write, especially a book, something which was a very, very daunting, formidable enterprise for me. And especially on a country like China. And when you write on India and China, there are so many unseen, you know, unimaginable threats that are there hanging in the air. Like when you had this nuclear suppliers group, I had to write for Chinese publication as well as Indian publication. So I asked a friend, should I write on this? So she said, but why are you hesitating? I said, no, if I write this, it will be this. If I write, she says, no, no matter what you write, people will either call you a Chinese agent or an agent of the Indian government. There is no getting away from it. You know? So you have to live with this fact and write, and I can be deaf to it because I am blessed biologically at a certain age that I don't hear well, but I can't be blind to it. So I have to accept this thing. And so I would not like to take up more of your time because we have some great, but in short, one is the narrative, how you, the second important rule of journalism, which I stress to my writing, is the pursuit of clarity amidst clutter, amidst noise, amidst distractions. It's almost impossible to watch news and television. I mean, it's ironic that I say it, I work for a television channel today, but I would say there is less clutter and noise in the particular channel I work for. And many would agree with me, there is no noise or shouting in the channel I work for. There is a Beyond TV for which I work. But it is really, the whole thing is so tabloidized, the frame, the noise, the background, this thing, you can't really grasp. And often I ask people, so what was being said on TV? And they say, oh, that part I did not pay attention. So I said, what was it before that? No, I couldn't follow that part. So, you know, there are so many distractions. Actually, you end up staring at the screen and not actually following. It's not about information, it's about images that captivate you or distract you. So this is another lesson I learned, and for which reason I had long kept away from television, but I have to accept wherever livelihood leads. And so the essence of what is to be done, that clarity and choosing unexplored stories, and this remains unchanged because that is the only way through exploration and inquiry to identify the core truth. And once you identify, this is the core truth about the situation. No, truth is also perceptions of truth are partisan. Then once you have done that with all the integrity that you have in you or your perspectives and so on, then one has to distill what one has gathered. One has to sharpen it. One has to refine it, you know. And you have to encapsulate it today, because today people want everything like the capsules they take, you know. I mean, so unless you give it, so clarity, brevity, all these things become very indispensable. I have tried to adhere to these rules, but I'm sure anyone in this room who reads this book will find 100 ways in which I have violated my rule. But as one knows that cliche, the moving finger, having grit, moves on. And I have moved on, I am defeated, and now it is in the public realm for the discussions in the first stage. I don't want them to be kind so that I know what is in store for me outside this place. And with these few words, I think I've spoken long enough. I once again want to thank General Aravane, Professor Z.M. Khan, and all those who are here. Thank you.
Thank you. Thanks.